Hello. Although you will see me putting acrylic paint onto sheets of paper, this is not a demonstration about how I would create a representational studio painting of the subject. Photorealism as a school of art didn't exist until the 1960s. If we ignore that art form, all other paintings, whether classical or impressionistic in style, are designed to suggest reality but leave the viewer to make sense of the image from their own knowledge and experience. I'm working from a photograph taken one evening in a side street in Rome, where tables are being laid out and people are gathering for a meal. The main road is ahead of us, still busy with passers-by, but this alleyway is relatively free of vehicles. Using just 3 colours, I make some starter marks, using a domestic sponge. By themselves, these marks won't make much sense to viewers, but they will start to think about what they might suggest. And that exploration of trying to make sense will develop as more marks are added to the foundation. Next, I add an area of bright red, that's front left there, to locate the jacket of the man in the foreground. Of itself, this mark of colour contrasts with the first dark marks, but otherwise it makes little sense. I then add a patch of cobalt blue, which could be the dress of a woman sitting nearer the main road. Then I spend some time, still using the sponge, to add bright mixture of yellow and orange to represent the lit front of the restaurant and the awning above it. Implicitly, I've made the decision to paint this picture into a square format. Some of the marks are made just to establish that shape and may well be altered later. I've now added white paint to my palette, and I'm starting to use a medium-sized round brush to make some more specific structural marks. Some of these make sense, others just indicate that I'm back standing in that street and looking round at the bright lights which catch my eye. Some of these marks may help you to begin to find objects which you can recognize. I've now mixed a very approximate flesh colour and start to add heads to some of the figures. Just as I'd made linear marks in white, I'm now using Payne's grey to add dark marks. You will now be able to recognise the man in the foreground and the back of his chair. Other marks still won't make much sense. Next, I develop the distant main street to suggest the activity of the pedestrians walking by. And as I do so, I realise that from a design point of view, I've developed the left side of the painting at the expense of the right. So I add a bright green to indicate the lights of the pharmacy. I finish my sketch with a bit more outlining in white, realising that there's nothing much more I can usefully add to the description to show my response to the scene. There are sufficient marks now to allow you to make some sense of the picture without my going into detail, which I would include in a studio version of that same subject. And to finish this demonstration, here is my studio version of this same picture. I hope you've enjoyed this demonstration and have learned something from it. Please ask questions if you'd like to.